Let me tell you something that will flip your understanding of love upside down. God does not send someone into your life to stress you out. He sends them to settle your soul. Some of y'all are calling it butterflies, but God is trying to tell you it's anxiety. Some of y'all are calling it passion, but God is trying to show you that it's pressure. I came to tell somebody today, a God-watched soulmate will never come with chaos, they will come with clarity. Because when God watches over your connection, He will protect your peace in it. So if you're sitting in a relationship and you're constantly asking, why do I feel so heavy when I'm supposed to feel held? Maybe it's because God's trying to release you, not reward you. A God-watched soulmate doesn't make you beg for peace. They bring it with them. They don't pressure your pace. They honor your purpose. Let God watch over your heart so He can walk you into a love that gives rest to your soul. You know, I was walking through a store one day and saw this kid staring at the microwave display. He tapped the screen and said to his mom, "Can we just get this one? It says 60 seconds and dinner is ready." And I laughed. But the truth hit me later. We are a microwave generation trying to receive a God-marinated blessing. We want things now, fast, delivered in 60 seconds or less. But love, real love, God-watched love doesn't work like that. Let me talk to the person right now who feels like love is passing them by. You're scrolling through social media, seeing couples, engagements, weddings, baby announcements, and you're wondering, God, when is it going to be my turn? But what if I told you that the very thing you think is a delay is actually God doing divine preparation? See, God doesn't rush what He's refining. If He's keeping you single, He might be shielding you. If He's holding you back, it's not rejection, it's protection. When God is watching over your love story, He doesn't just throw two people together like puzzle pieces from different boxes. No, He shapes one and matures the other. He breaks pride in one and builds patience in the other. Because if you rush into love without healing, you'll hurt the person who was sent to help you. If you sprint into commitment without character, the relationship will collapse under pressure. I know what it's like to want it now. I know what it's like to feel like everyone else is getting what you prayed for. But let me give you a word that will set you free today. You don't want to meet your soulmate prematurely, because premature connection causes permanent pain. God is not trying to frustrate you. He's trying to form you. The waiting season isn't a waste. The right person with the wrong mindset becomes the wrong relationship. The right timing with the wrong emotional maturity becomes a storm, not a sanctuary. Let me take you into real life. Ever met someone who checked all the boxes, but something still felt off? They were attractive, smart, successful, spiritual even, but there was this undertone of anxiety every time you talked to them. You felt yourself shrinking. You felt the need to constantly prove your worth. That's not God-watched love. That's self-managed survival. Because when it's God's timing, you don't have to manufacture chemistry. You don't have to pretend to be less to keep their attention. You don't have to rehearse your value every night in your head. You just rest. You just be. Because God's love doesn't rush, it reveals. What does it reveal? It reveals whether they have the emotional maturity to steward your heart. It reveals whether you've grown past trauma or are just covering it with busy schedules and gym selfies. It reveals whether they pray with you or just play with you. Because time doesn't lie. Time exposes motives. Time reveals intentions, and most of all, time tells the truth. If God has taken time, trust that it's because He's putting in details. Think about it. Every strong building needs a solid foundation, and a solid foundation takes time. You don't build a skyscraper overnight. You don't plant a vineyard in the morning and sip the wine by sundown. Love that lasts is grown, not grabbed. I think about Jesus waiting 30 years before stepping into public ministry. He had the power, He had the knowledge, He had the authority, but He waited. Because sometimes even when you're ready, it's not time yet. And that's not a punishment, that's divine positioning. So if you're in that space where you're tired of waiting, let me tell you, wait well, don't waste the waiting. Build yourself. Learn how to forgive, how to communicate, how to love without controlling. Because when the right person comes, you'll need those tools. You can't wait until the moment they arrive to start becoming who God called you to be. You've got to get ready now. Because a God-watched soulmate doesn't show up to complete you. They show up because you're already complete in Him. So stop looking at the clock. Start looking at your character. Stop counting how many months you've been single and start counting how many moments you spent becoming whole. God's not in a rush because He knows what He's given you is worth the wait. Let God reveal, don't force it. Let God unfold, don't manipulate it. Because when He brings the right person, it won't come with panic. It will come with peace. It won't come with pressure. It will come with purpose. And the best part, when it's from God, you won't have to beg for clarity. You won't have to beg for time. You won't have to beg for respect. You'll just know. Because when God is in it, peace leads it. And peace, not pressure, is how you'll recognize the one He's been preparing for you all along. So hold on, not because you're behind, but because what God is building in your life is too sacred to be rushed. You ever walk into a room and instantly feel the tension? Like no one says anything out loud, but the energy is off. It's thick, it's heavy. Now flip that. Have you ever walked into a space, maybe it's your grandma's kitchen or a quiet moment in worship, and you just felt peace flood your soul? You didn't have to work for it. You didn't have to perform to earn it. It was just there. That's the kind of peace I'm talking about. The peace that doesn't need an explanation because it's the signature of God's presence. See, when we talk about relationships, too many of us are fooled by sparkles instead of looking for substance. We're chasing butterflies, chemistry, excitement, and listen, there's nothing wrong with attraction. But don't confuse adrenaline with anointing. The real question is, does this person carry peace or create pressure? Because here's the truth. Peace is not passive, it's powerful. And in a world filled with distractions, confusion, and emotional noise, peace is proof that God is present. Some of you are in relationships right now that have you second guessing your worth, your calling, your purpose, and you're calling it love. But love that comes from God doesn't twist your mind or tie your emotions in knots. It anchors you. It holds you. It gives you room to breathe. You don't have to wake up every morning wondering, what mood will they be in today? Will they still want me tomorrow? Am I enough for them this week? That's not peace. That's bondage dressed up in romance. I remember talking to someone who told me when I first started dating them, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, my mind was racing all day long, and I asked, were you in love or in anxiety? That's what peace does. And if it's not bringing you rest, it's not from the one who said, come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest. Think about it. In the Bible, every time Jesus entered a situation, whether it was a storm on the sea, a sick person, or a room full of fear, He brought peace. He spoke peace to storms. He walked in peace, and He left peace as a gift. My peace I give you, not as the world gives. That's the kind of peace that should mark your relationship. Not that every day is perfect, not that you'll never disagree, but that even in the hard moments, you still feel secure. you still feel safe. You still feel seen. And if the relationship always feels like a war zone, you need to stop asking, how do I fix this? And start asking, was this even built by God? Because God doesn't bless what He didn't build. And if He didn't build it, it won't carry His peace. Let me give you a daily life example. You ever been in traffic, but your favorite worship song comes on and all of a sudden you're not even bothered? Cars are honking, people are cutting you off, but you've got this calm inside. Why? Because peace isn't about what's happening around you. It's about who's in control within you. That's how a God-watched soulmate works. They don't remove every external problem, but they don't add to your chaos either. They walk with you in it. They help you navigate it without losing your joy. You need someone who doesn't just give you chills in the moment. They give you peace in your soul. Someone whose presence doesn't make you question yourself, but reminds you who you are. Someone who doesn't just say the right words, but speaks them from a place that reflects God's calm, not chaos. If you're dating someone and every interaction feels like a roller coaster, up one day, down the next, constantly wondering where you stand, pause, step back, ask yourself, is this peace or is it pressure? Because peace doesn't demand you to prove your worth. Peace doesn't keep score of your mistakes. Peace doesn't manipulate you into silence or force you to accept what your spirit is rejecting. God doesn't use confusion as a strategy. That's not His language. Peace is how He speaks. And in relationships, that peace becomes your compass. It's how He leads you. That settledness in your soul, that calm in the middle of all the unknowns, that's how you know it's Him. So if you've been praying, God, give me a sign, this might be it. Peace is your sign. Not excitement, not infatuation, not potential, peace. If being with them makes you feel like you can finally exhale, like you don't have to perform, compete, or constantly adjust just to keep their attention, then you might just be standing in the presence of something God approved. But if you're losing yourself, losing your voice, losing your connection to God just to keep someone around, let this be the wake-up call. God's love brings peace, not pressure. And any soulmate watched over by Him will carry that peace because they've been resting in it before they even found you. So don't just ask yourself, do they love me? Ask, do they bring me peace? Because love can be loud, passionate, intense. But if it's not peaceful, it's not permanent. Peace is the evidence that God is in the room. Peace is the evidence that God is in the relationship. And peace is the evidence that you're not building this alone. Let peace be your confirmation. Let peace be your protector. Because when peace is present, pressure doesn't stand a chance. Let me tell you something that will change how you see love forever. Real love does not compete with your calling. It complements it. It doesn't drag you away from who God created you to be. It draws you deeper into it. When God sends a soulmate, that person doesn't just fall in love with your face or your body. They fall in love with your purpose, your passion, your God-given fire. They don't feel threatened by your gift. They feel inspired by it. We live in a culture that romanticizes the chase. We're told that if there's no drama, it's boring. If they're not playing hard to get, it must not be real. But God never designed love to be a battlefield of egos. He designed it to be a partnership of purpose. The person He sends won't feel the need to outshine you or keep you small. They'll see your light and say, let's shine together. Some of you are dimming your brilliance just to make someone else feel comfortable. You're hiding your dreams because they feel too much around you. You're holding back your voice because when you speak with confidence, they get insecure. But can I tell you something? The right person won't shrink in your shine. They'll stretch into their own. The right person won't ask you to be less so they can feel like more. They'll ask, how can we grow together? Imagine a woman who has a vision to start her own business. She's passionate, driven, called, but she's dating someone who sees her ambition as a threat. Every time she brings up her dreams, he changes the subject. Every time she works late, he gets moody. Every time she levels up, he pulls away. And she starts to wonder, maybe I'm too much. No, sis, you're not too much. They're just not enough for what God's placed inside you. Because the right person won't resent your grind, they'll rejoice in it. Or think about a man who feels a deep calling to ministry. He's been studying, praying, waiting on the right door to open. But he's with someone who constantly questions it. Why don't you just get a regular job? Is there even money in that? What if it doesn't work out? Listen, that's not love, that's sabotage in disguise. Love doesn't sabotage your purpose, it supports it. It doesn't question your calling, it covers it in prayer. One of the clearest signs that someone is a God-watch soulmate is when their presence frees you to pursue what God planted in you, not bind you in fear of losing them if you grow. And let me tell you something real. If someone can't handle your calling, they are not qualified to handle your heart. Because when God puts two people together, He doesn't just connect bodies, He connects assignments. There is a divine chemistry between people who are aligned in purpose. And that chemistry doesn't always look like fireworks and drama. Sometimes it looks like quiet encouragement. Sometimes it looks like someone holding your hand after a long day and reminding you, you were made for this. Sometimes it looks like someone sitting in the front row clapping louder than anybody else when you step into your purpose. Real love will push you toward the pulpit, the boardroom, the classroom, the mission field, wherever God is calling you, because a God-watch soulmate understands that your success doesn't threaten them. It includes them. Your elevation is their celebration. Your progress is their praise. Have you ever seen two people run a relay race? They're not competing against each other. They're running together, passing the baton, working toward the same finish line. That's what God-designed love looks like. Two people who aren't trying to outrun each other, but who are pacing each other, cheering each other on, lifting each other up. If you're in a relationship where you're constantly having to explain why your purpose matters, where you're constantly having to apologize for being passionate, where you're constantly having to downplay what God told you to do so they don't feel insecure, that is not a soulmate. That's a detour. And sometimes God lets you feel the discomfort of disconnection so you don't settle for something beneath your calling. The right person will say, go after it. I've got your back. I'm not here to compete with you. I'm here to complement you. And that's the key. God doesn't just give you a companion. He gives you a complement. Someone who fills in the gaps, someone who sees your blind spots and helps you grow, someone who's strong where you're weak and humble where you're proud, someone who pushes you toward heaven, not away from it. So hear me today. If love is costing you your purpose, it's too expensive. If it's making you question your calling, it's not God sent. And if it's making you feel like your gifts are a burden instead of a blessing, that's not love. That's a spiritual mismatch. But when God is in it, when God is watching over it, love becomes the safest place to grow. You start to realize that you don't have to choose between love and purpose. The right love will fuel your purpose. The right person will see you on fire and throw wood on the flame, not water. Don't just pray for someone who loves you. Pray for someone who believes in you, who sees the call of God on your life and says, I don't just want to be in your heart, I want to be in your assignment. Because when love is sent by God, it doesn't compete, it completes. And together you'll do more for His kingdom than you ever could have alone. There's something powerful about being fully seen and still being fully accepted. That's what a God-watch soulmate does. They don't just love the version of you that's dressed up, glowing, and confident. They love the version of you that's tired, overwhelmed, broken in places you've never let anyone touch before. They don't just tolerate your imperfections, they honor them as part of your story. And that's how you know it's from God, when love isn't based on illusion but intimacy, the kind that sees you and stays. You can wear the nicest clothes, take the best selfies, post the most inspiring captions, and still feel unseen in your relationship if the person you're with is only interested in the surface, the one God sends. They won't stop at the highlight reel. They'll pause at your pain. They'll lean into your mess. They'll ask about your silent seasons, your shadow places. And they won't run when it gets real. They'll reach deeper. See, the world teaches us to present perfection, but God watched love embraces truth. It doesn't flinch at your flaws. It doesn't turn away when your insecurities show up. Because true connection isn't about being flawless. It's about being authentic. And the right person will be more drawn to your truth than your filter. Maybe you've experienced relationships where you had to wear a mask just to be accepted. You had to smile through pain. You had to hold your opinions in. You had to become someone smaller, softer, quieter, just to fit into their expectation. That's not love. That's emotional suffocation. And the truth is, you were never made to shrink yourself for love. You were made to be loved as your full self. Your loud laugh, your deep thoughts, your complex emotions, your unfiltered honesty. Think about your daily life. Maybe you've had a long day, the kind where your hair's messy, your heart is heavy, and your spirit is low. And the person who claims to love you walks in, sees your exhaustion, and says, "Why are you being so emotional?" That's not someone who sees you. That's someone who tolerates the version of you that's easy to handle and disappears when you're not. Now imagine the opposite. You walk through the door, drained, discouraged, maybe even a little messy. And the person you love says, "You don't have to say a word. I see it on your face. I've got you." That kind of presence, that kind of love, that's what healing looks like. That's what God sends. Not someone who fixes you, but someone who holds you, even when you feel broken. You don't need someone who idolizes a perfect image of you. You need someone who's emotionally mature enough to say, "I love the real you. I love you when you're anxious. I love you when you're quiet. I love you when you're figuring things out. I love you when," You're not okay. Because a God-watched soulmate doesn't just love the moment, they love the journey. And they're willing to walk through every chapter of your story, not just the pretty pages. Here's what I've learned. Real love knows how to listen, not just to your words, but to your heart. And when you're with the right person, you don't have to fight to be understood. You don't have to over-explain yourself. You don't have to translate your feelings into a language they can finally comprehend. The one God sends, they lean in. They ask questions. They make space for your truth. They don't invalidate your pain. They sit with you in it. Do you know how rare that is? To be fully known and still chosen. The world offers conditional affection. I'll love you if you look like this, if you act like this, if you make me feel this way. But divine love, the kind that's watched over by God, it says, "I'll love you here. I'll love you in this. I'll love you while you're healing. I'll love you while you're growing. I'll love you while you're still learning to love yourself." Because love that's rooted in God isn't performance-based. It's presence-based. It doesn't measure you by your productivity. It values your soul. And the person God has for you will be more concerned about your peace than your perfection. They'll choose connection over control. They'll choose honesty over hiding. They'll make it safe for you to take off the armor and just be you. One of the most healing feelings in the world is hearing someone say, "You don't have to be strong with me." Take that as a sign, not to run toward bitterness, but to run toward truth. You were never made to be hidden in a relationship. You were made to be held, to be cherished, to be loved with eyes that see deeper than your smile and hands that hold you when you can't hold yourself. A God-watched soulmate is someone who doesn't just fall in love with your potential. They stay in love with your process. And when you found someone who celebrates your progress, comforts your pain, and makes it safe to be full you, that's not just romance, that's redemption, that's restoration, that's real. Sometimes the loudest form of love is not a shout, it's not flowers every Friday, it's not long dramatic text messages, it's not grand declarations on social media. Sometimes the loudest form of love is consistency, the quiet, unshakable presence of someone who keeps showing up. And that's exactly what a God-watched soulmate will do. They will stay steady. While the world teaches us that love is a roller coaster of extreme highs and dramatic lows, God's version of love looks more like a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat that doesn't quit even when things get hard. Real love doesn't show up one day and disappear the next. Real love isn't into you only when it's convenient. Real love doesn't ghost you, breadcrumb you, or play emotional hide and seek. When God sends someone into your life to love you, truly love you, they're not just emotionally available when it's easy, they're reliably present when it's hard. And their presence brings a kind of stability that your soul can finally rest in. Let's talk about daily life, about those ordinary, messy, beautiful moments where love is either tested or proven. It's not hard to love someone when everything's going right, when you're glowing, when your mood is up, when your career is thriving, and your skin is clear. But what about when you're exhausted from work? When your heart is heavy with disappointment? When your insecurities are louder than your hope? The person God sends doesn't vanish when you're not at your best. They lean in. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They show up when you need them most. Think of it like this. Imagine your life as a house. The lights go out. It's cold. The wind is howling. Some people in your life are only there when the lights are on. They're there for the parties, the celebrations, the fun. But the moment things get dark, they leave. But your soulmate, they walk in with a flashlight and a blanket. They're not afraid of your power outage. They know how to help you fix the fuse. That's what steady love looks like. It's not glamorous all the time. It's not about the rush. It's about the root. A God-watched soulmate has roots. They don't run when emotions fluctuate. They don't crumble when conflict shows up. They have the maturity to say, I'm not here just for the high moments. I'm here for the healing, for the growth, for the messy middle too. Let's go even deeper. Emotional stability in a relationship doesn't mean there's no passion. It means there's predictability in how you're treated. It means you can trust their tone, their touch. You're not left guessing where you stand. You're not sitting by your phone wondering, will they care today, or is this one of their cold days? Because when love is mature, it doesn't play tug of war with your heart. It doesn't give you a feast of affection one day and famine the next. Some of you have gotten used to chaos, and now you're confusing peace with boredom. You think if love isn't keeping you on edge, it must not be real. But real love isn't exhausting. It's edifying. It builds you up. It gives your soul a safe place to land. It doesn't keep you in survival mode. It invites you into stability. You know how comforting it is when someone remembers your smallest preferences? Like how you take your coffee, or what you need after a stressful day, or the song that always lifts your spirit. That's love in its simplest form, showing up consistently in the details. The right person won't need a grand reason to show they care. They'll do it because that's who they are. They'll send that "how are you really doing" text, not because it's Valentine's Day, but because it's Tuesday and they genuinely care. Emotional consistency means they don't manipulate with silence. They don't punish you by pulling away. They don't weaponize affection. Instead, they create an emotional environment where you can breathe, where you don't have to tiptoe, where you don't have to second guess every interaction. Think about how much healing that kind of love brings. Many of us are carrying old wounds from parents who were present physically but absent emotionally, from partners who said they loved us but treated our hearts like they were optional. So when someone walks in with consistency, it feels foreign at first. You're tempted to reject it, sabotage it, or doubt it, but don't. That steady presence, that's God's hand in human form saying you are worthy of dependable love. God is not a God of chaos. He is a God of order, of faithfulness, of presence. And the person He sends will reflect His nature. Their love will not confuse you. It will clarify you. It will not drain you. It will develop you. You'll find yourself calmer, more secure, more focused, not because life is perfect, but because love is peaceful. So if you're in a relationship that keeps you on an emotional seesaw, one day you're up, the next you're crashing down, I need you to know that's not what God has for you. God doesn't build foundations on confusion. He builds them on consistency. And when He sends someone, their love will echo His nature. Always present, always steady, always sure. Don't settle for adrenaline-based love when God is offering you anchored love. The kind that holds you steady when life shakes. The kind that stays when others stray. The kind that teaches you that real love doesn't keep you guessing, it keeps you grounded. You will know it's from God when the relationship brings peace into your life, not just passion into your veins. Peace isn't boring, it's beautiful. Peace doesn't mean the absence of problems, it means the presence of someone who doesn't become the problem. And that's what a God-watched soulmate does. They don't walk into your life like a storm, they show up like still waters. They don't add chaos to your already bussy world, they become the calm in your chaos. Have you ever been in a relationship where your mind was constantly racing, where your heart was constantly on edge? You didn't know whether to laugh or brace yourself. You couldn't tell whether this would be a good day or another day of walking on eggshells. You were emotionally exhausted, constantly trying to decode moods, text messages, tones. That's not love. That's instability wrapped in romantic packaging. That's pressure disguised as passion. But when God sends someone, they bring peace that feels like home. You don't have to earn your place. You don't have to constantly perform. You don't have to pretend to be someone you're not. Their love makes it safe to just be. Safe to exhale. Safe to speak your mind without fear of backlash. Safe to be vulnerable without fear of being judged. That's what divine love looks like. It gives you peace within, even when life is chaotic around you. Peace in a relationship doesn't mean there are no disagreements. It means there's emotional safety even in disagreement. It means when you fight for each other. It means even in conflict, there's respect. Even in tension, there's tenderness. It's not about avoiding hard conversations. It's about handling them with care. The right person won't use their voice to intimidate you. They'll use it to uplift you. They won't weaponize your weaknesses. They'll protect them. Think about your everyday life. You wake up and the weight of the world is already on your shoulders. Work deadlines, family stress, financial pressure, social comparison. You walk out the door already running low. Now the wrong person will add to that weight. They'll drain your energy with doubt, drama, and emotional gains. But the right person, they'll lighten your load. They'll speak life into you before your day begins. They'll remind you of your worth when the world tries to make you forget it. They'll be your soft place to land when everything else feels hard. Peace looks like this: sitting in silence together and feeling safe, not awkward. It looks like small gestures done with great love. A cup of coffee placed by your side without asking. A blanket wrapped around you when you're cold. A reassuring touch in the middle of a hard moment. It's when their presence alone brings your heart rate down. It's when their words speak calm into your anxious thoughts. And here's the truth. We don't always recognize peace when we've become addicted to pressure. Some of us were raised in environments where love was loud, unstable, and unpredictable. So now when love shows up gentle and consistent, it feels unfamiliar. But don't push that peace away just because it doesn't match your past pain. That peace, that's your healing, that's your new normal. That's God saying you don't have to live on edge anymore. So many people confuse peace with lack of excitement. But what if the greatest excitement isn't in the adrenaline, but in the assurance? The thrill of being fully known and still fully loved. The excitement of building something steady. The passion that doesn't fade because it was never built on hype. It was built on honor. And peace doesn't mean the person is perfect. It means they're intentional. It means when they see something's off, they lean in, not pull away. It means they apologize when they're wrong. They don't let pride destroy connection. They don't disappear when you're emotional. They sit with you, they hear you, they see you. One of the greatest gifts God gives is a person who doesn't make you question your value. A person whose love isn't based on your performance. A person who mirrors the peace of God and how they treat you. You can hear it in their voice. You can feel it in their presence. You can see it in the way your soul starts to rest. That's what God-watched love looks like. Not just butterflies, but balance. Not just sparks, but stability. You deserve love that doesn't leave you guessing. You deserve love that makes you feel safe, not small. You deserve love that brings out your calm, not your chaos. When you meet someone and your heart finally exhales, pay attention. That might just be your answered prayer. So stop chasing the loudest love in the room and start seeking the one that makes your heart quiet down. The one who brings peace into your conversations, peace into your process, peace into your purpose. Because peace isn't passive, it's powerful. And when God sends your person, you'll know it. Not just by how loud their love is, but by how peaceful it feels.